Hello, my name is Scott Schaefer and we're here at Fun in the Sun Yacht Charters. Today we're going to do a chart briefing for a trip from Fort Lauderdale to the Bimini Island chain. We're going to start off with how to get out of our facility here on the Middle River, get out of Fort Lauderdale through Port Everglades, and get ready to do the crossing across the Gulf Stream. So we are located right here on the Middle River. It's Fun in the Sun Yacht Charters on the west side of the Middle River as far as it's navigable before Sunrise Bridge here. So you'd start heading out, you follow the left bank out the Middle River till you get to this wide open area. This is where the Middle River joins the Intracoastal Waterway. The Intracoastal Waterway, reds are on your right as you're heading south on an inland waterway. It's the rule where red markers are on your right as you're circumnavigating the continent. So if you're going south on the eastern seaboard in an inland waterway, reds are on your right, greens are on your left. Right here, you have a first bridge, which is Las Olas Bridge, and you need to call them because your mast height is more than the height of the bridge. So you call Las Olas Bridge, Las Olas Bridge, Las Olas Bridge. This is southbound sailing vessel, name of the vessel, in this case maybe Flash of Green, requesting your opening. Bridge tender will get back to you and tell you, okay, we're going to open in 5 minutes, just hold your position. The bridge is on schedule. It opens, Las Olas Bridge opens quarter of the hour and quarter after the hour on the half hour. But you still need to call the bridge and announce yourself. If you're sitting there, the bridge won't open unless you call them. So it takes about 15 minutes to get from Fun in the Sun Yacht Charters to Las Olas Bridge. So it's a good idea to depart about 5 of or 25 after, so you won't have to wait too long for an opening. Once the bridge starts to open, you wait for the spans to fully go vertical and stop moving, and then you go through the bridge. You'll go on past the Bahia Mar Marina on the east side of the Intracoastal. There's a green marker out here. We don't want you to get outside the channel because it's very shallow around here. So the channel actually bends to the west here. There's a split channel marker here. You don't want to go up this way. That's the new river. But you do have markers along there. You have markers along here and markers back here. So you got to pay attention. Watch for those reds. Keep them on your right, staying in the right side of the channel. And don't get in this triangle. This is very shallow stuff in here. This is a sandbar, and you don't want to get in there. So once you make the bend, you'll see the next bridge. That's 17th Street Bridge. It's located right here. And as soon as you have a visual on 17th Street Bridge, you'll call 17th Street Bridge and request an opening. And you would do that by repeating the name of the bridge 3 times, identifying yourself, and telling them that you want to go through the bridge, require an opening. They open top of the hour and bottom of the hour. So 15 minutes from this bridge to this bridge. It's very easy to get there. You want to move along at 2,200 RPMs and you'll get there just fine. You can make it without missing the bridge. So you would call 17th Street Bridge, 17th Street Bridge, 17th Street Bridge. This is outbound or southbound sailing vessel such and such, requesting your next opening. He'll contact you back and say, okay, Captain, we're going to open in 5 minutes or so, whenever they're going to open. Just so you know, on the way back in, the fuel dock to fuel up on is just north of the 17th Street Bridge on the west side of the Intracoastal Waterway. This is Lauderdale Marina. They close at about 8:30 in the evening, so you want to get there before then so you can fuel up on the way back into the marina. We don't have fuel facility at our marina, so we want to fuel up at Lauderdale Marina. Once you get through 17th Street Bridge, you're in the turning basin of Port Everglades. Now this is where the markers switch, because here it's red right return. So now you're going to deeper water. Reds will be on your left, greens will be on your right. So it's red right return. You're not returning, you're going out, so it'll be the opposite. Reds are on your left, greens are on your right. Go on out this way. There's a rock jetties on either side of the channel here. Get past, this is green number 5 over here. Once you get past green number 5, you can break off the channel and start heading to Bimini. Typically, what you'll want to do when you're doing a crossing over to Bimini is you'll want to use a heading well south of your rum line. So The rhumb line being straight across. Fort Lauderdale is right here, and it's a southeasterly trek that you're making, but you're going to be going well south of there. So basically what we usually do is start off at about 142 degrees, and as you come out here at 142 degrees, the Gulf Stream will start to push you to the north. So like an airplane, you won't be traveling in the direction the boat is pointing, but it'll be pushed. It's called a set and drift. So you're setting at about 142 degrees. You're going to check it along the way. In the axis of the Gulf Stream, you could have up to 2 to 3 knots of current. And if the wind's blowing out of the south, it can be even more. So you'll have to compensate for that. And the way you compensate for it is by pointing further south, heading further south, and the current pushes you along. If you check your cross-tracking as you're going across through the GPS and you find yourself heading too far south, then you make a little bit of an adjustment. But don't start making the adjustments till you're at least 3 to 5 hours in, because that's when you're going to be hitting the Gulf Stream. Before then, you don't want to start off too high, because if you start off too high, then you get pushed all the way up here. So that's pretty much the way you want to do it. Start off at 142 degrees, check your cross-tracking, and adjust accordingly as you're making it across the Gulf Stream. Now, typically, we like to do this, especially in the winter months, we like to do this overnight. And the reason being is you don't want to arrive in the Bahamas or on the Great Bahama Bank when it's not light, when there's the sun is not high in the sky. Because many times you need to read the water going in. So what a lot of people will do is they'll depart, say, about 10 o'clock at night, and it's about 8 to 10 hours, depending on conditions, to do the crossing. You get there once the sun is up high enough in the sky, you can read the water. This is just in case the navigation buoys are not lit. They don't maintain their buoys as well as they're maintained in the United States. So, sometimes you can get there and there won't be any lights on the buoys, and so then you can't see it at night, and it makes it rather difficult. So after we get across the Gulf Stream, now in the summertime you can do a day crossing because the days are longer, but you have to leave at the crack of dawn. So usually for the best timing to get across, your charter starts at noon, we do the checkout and everything, you get all settled in, and then you take off at night and you're there the next day, rather than wait and then get there till the next night. So anyways, that's pretty much the way the crossing's done. So as you're approaching into Bimini, the first area of the islands that will break the horizon will be this part of North Bimini. This is the highest ground over there. Now, Bimini is very low-lying land, so you don't have elevation here much over 10 feet, 15 feet. That's about it for the Bimini Island chain. It's all low-lying islands. So as you're coming in, you'll break the horizon, this area, and you'll see the island growing as you approach in. You want to keep your eyes open on South Bimini to be looking for the Bimini Sands Marina, which is a low-rise condominium, pink and orange in color. And the approach you want to come in 90 degrees off that. There are cans and nuns out here. This chart, they have not upgraded these charts in 10 years, but this is the old entrance where you would use range markers to come in. We don't do that anymore. Now there are cans and nuns out here, red and a green, and you would come to put this waypoint in. As you're coming in, you'll see the reds and greens, and you come in 90 degrees off these jetties. There's jetties off this entrance in here. As you come in, you'll see a trailing reef here, and you do need to be aware that there is a very large red marker up in this area here. This is a warning marker, not a navigational buoy as a red and a green, but it is red in color because it's a danger buoy and it keeps you away from the trailing reef up here. So you're going to look for these two cans and nuns, come 90 degrees off these jetties here, come straight in here. Then once you get past the trailing reef, you're going to break off from the 90 degrees and do about 60 to 65 degrees and come right in here. This is where you're going to Alistown. Alistown is where the marinas are. This is where the customs is. There is a customs office down here at Bimini Sands Marina, but South Bimini is mostly residential. North Bimini is where all the excitement is. It's a small community, and it's very traditional, bohemian community, and really neat place. A lot of nice little restaurants and bars and things to see, and beautiful beaches and things like that here. So coming in, we recommend you stay at one of the marinas in there. Big Game Club's good. Bimini Blue Water Marina's good. There's a number of them. Weeches Docks is another one. We'll talk about that. We have a list of marinas you can get it. But the customs office is at Bimini Big Game Club, and that's where you want to go to clear in customs. You will have done the click to clear, and so they will already have your number and everything. You just need to go to a dock. You have to be at a dock to clear customs. Once you go in, you'll dock at the marina. If you're not spending the night at that marina, we do recommend you do spend the first night at a marina. That way you get settled in and get comfortable and get some rest while the boat's at dock, and you crew can explore the island and such. But the customs office is right there at Bimini Big Game Club. So anyways, after that, different areas that are interesting to sail. So you come back out here to the deep water, and you can come up north, and a lot of people will do a day sail up north of Moselle Bank, about a mile or two. This is where the wild dolphin tend to congregate. So if you go about 1.5 to 2 miles north of Moselle Bank along the edge, there's a chance you could run into a great school of dolphin. When I say great school, it can be 100, 150 dolphin in a school. And so it could be be interesting. I said school, I should say pod of dolphin, because they travel in pods, not schools. Fish are in schools, dolphin and whales are in pods. So anyways, it would be very interesting if you ran into that. Can't guarantee it, but that's what a lot of people do a day sail up that way. Now, coming back down, a lot of people will anchor out here. This is a really good anchorage right off here, just to the east of the Three Sisters rocks here. Right in here, there's a little lee in here, and it is protected water. So it's a good place to anchor in about 8 feet of water, 8 to 10 feet of water. And it's calm in here. There's a beautiful beach here. There's a little beach bar there as well, so you could dinghy ashore and get a cocktail or hang out on the beach, whatever you want to do. A good place to spend the night. Now the backside, sometimes people will come back here and they'll want to spend the night back here. The beaches along here are not so good. They're, first of all, it's very shallow, long way out, almost 3/4 mile before you can get to the beach. So you're anchored way out. There's a lot of grass in here and not really good hold. If you do want to come around on this side, just make sure you get a good hold with your anchor, and give yourself wide berth around these rocks here, watching out for North Rock. North Rock is right here with a light on it. Sometimes it's not lit at night, so don't be traveling at night. Once you get over here, we really don't want you moving at night. So we'll anchor in here. But like I say, I think it's best to just hang out in here, anchor here. This is a very good anchorage. So coming back down this way now, a lot of people will want to go to the Sapona shipwreck. You will have seen this probably on the way in. As you're approaching in, you'll see this sticking way out of the water. This is an old Ferris barge that was sunk in the 40s and was used for target practice. But the barge was actually used in the 20s as a rum runner, and it's an old concrete ship that is sunk, and it sticks way out of the water. It hangs up there, and it's a really interesting place to anchor and swim around. So you'll see it on the way in. When you're coming in, you'll see it out of the water. You make a note of it. You can use that as a reference. But when you're coming down here to approach it, we recommend you come in below Triangle Rock. We don't like you coming in between Triangle and Turtle because there's a rock awash here. Come in this side, anchor on the south to the southwest side. The north, it has shoaled up, so you want to be on this side, and then you anchor near it and you can swim over to it. You can climb up on it. It's a good idea to bring water shoes or sneakers because there is sharp old rusty metal on board on the boat, so you don't want to cut your feet. Anyways, this is a good day anchorage. Have lunch there, snorkel it, jump off the ship and have fun there. After that, you might want to head on down for your anchorage for the night, which would probably be in the Gun Key area. You don't want to traverse the island chain on the backside because this is all shifting sands and there's no indication of where the shallows are. So you want to come back out the same way you came in to the deep water, come down this way, and the approach to Gun Key anchorage is over on this side, is around the south side of the island. Many of the cruising guides will talk about Honeymoon Harbor. This is Honeymoon Harbor. Now, since this chart, like I said, they haven't upgraded these charts in a long time, but in 2005, the Hurricane Wilma caused this island to separate. So there's now current running through here. So this is an anchorage, but you have rocks on all sides and current running through here. It's just a terrible place to anchor for the night. This is a beautiful uninhabited island, so in order to access it, you come in from the northwest side on the south side of Gun Key, staying close to the south end of Gun Key, watching for the trailing reef off of North Cat Key. Come around this side. You can anchor on the east side of Gun Key right over here, and then you can dinghy over to the beautiful beaches in here. This is where they do the manta ray feedings. So you get down, there'll usually be a local there on the beach that'll be selling you little menhaden. You put them in your knuckles, you sit down in the water in about 2 feet of water, and the manta rays will come up and feed out of your hands. So it's a really unique experience and worthwhile to explore this area of the island. Now, this is an uninhabited island. You can go ashore and check it out. I recommend using water shoes because it's a lot of really sharp rock. On here, there's a lighthouse. That's this light. It's a red and white lighthouse. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Other than that, there's no inhabitants on the island. You can anchor on this side depending on conditions, but it tends to be a little more rocky and rolly. It's best to be on the backside. You have 70 miles of bank, the Great Bahama Bank, protecting you. And it's only 10 to 15 feet of water, so you never have a swell in here or anything like that. Most you're ever going to have is a little chop. The other option is to come down here to a marina at North Cat Key. North Cat Key is a developed island where there's it's a private island where high-profile people have some very expensive homes. There's a little 9-hole golf course on there. There's a clubhouse and an Olympic-sized pool there. But it is private. So the marina is open to the public for transient dockage. They have a little restaurant right near the docks there. They have a little dock bar, and they have a little commissary that you can access. So all those things are available to you if you spend the night at the marina. There's a fuel dock there as well. And there's also customs here. So if you were to come in here and need to go to customs, there is a customs officer here, but they tend to charge a little bit more than the normal fees they do up in Bimini. So this is the only place you'd come in. This is where the marina is, and to get up here is right through here. This 5 foot is no problem. You just come right along here, come out here. Now, other anchorages in the area. Grassy Bay is a great anchorage. There's a beautiful beach here. Again, it's a private island, but you can go ashore and use the beach. Usually they don't bother you with that. You come around this side, there's 2 large rocks here. On this chart, it's called Moxum rocks. On other charts, such as Explorer charts, they call them kitten rocks. They're 2 very large rocks that stick way out of the water. You want to give yourself wide berth around there. And the anchorage is right in here, but you have to be careful because there is a lot of flat rock in here. So you got to make sure you get sand and you have a good hold, because you can catch a corner, think you have a good hold, and then the wind shifts and all of a sudden you're dragging anchor. So you want to make sure you have a good hold. It's best to snorkel your anchors. That's why it's good to set your anchor while it's still light and be able to get in the water and look at the anchor and make sure it's in good sand hold. If you're here, there's a really good little reef here to snorkel. You can get in a dinghy and go over to the reef. You can't take the boat over there because it's kind of too shallow for the boat, but you take a dinghy over there, and the way it's handled is one person would remain in the dinghy and manage the dinghy. The dinghy needs to stay with the snorkelers, obviously being very careful not to run over the snorkelers with the outboard. You have to be careful, but you got to stay with the snorkelers. And the reason being is there's current in here, and you got to stay with them and make sure that they're safe. Then they would get back in the boat, and you could take turns, and another person could snorkel. But you say 2 people should snorkel at a time, and 1 person handle the dinghy or so. The other anchorages in the area are down here at Dollar Bay. They are developing this island. They're building a port here at Dollar Harbor. Dollar Harbor is an area where they shows anchorage here, but really there's a lot of dredge pipe in there because they've been building this port for a number of years and they've been dredging a lot of sand out of there. So I don't recommend coming in here, but if you do want to come down this way, you can anchor out here because remember, you have protection from the bank. Up here they show an anchorage here. This is not a good anchorage because there's a lot of rolly seas in here. Rabbit Rock is a rock that just breaks the water, so you got to be careful of that. It's right out there in the middle of nowhere, so make sure you know your position when you're entering into this area or exiting this area. You have to be well north of Wedge Rock, but not too far north because you don't want to get involved with Rabbit Rock here. But you can come in here, anchor here for the night. Now another good little anchorage right here is Victory Keys. This is a good anchorage, an overnight or a day anchorage, and you can snorkel these rocks. It's a little bit exposed here for an overnight, but it's good for a day anchorage. So I've shown you a number of anchorages in this area. Obviously you're not going to use all of them, but it gives you some options on what you can do. Now the whole idea behind your trip to Bimini is that you start in the north and end in the south. The reason being is you have much better crossing back, and if you're leaving from North Cat Key area, your heading should be about due west. You head due west, and the Gulf Stream will push you north to get back to Fort Lauderdale, and it's much quicker going back. It's usually about between 6.5 to 7.5 hours going back because you're with the current. Remember, coming over, you're fighting the current, and you're really doing only about 4 knots over ground. And it's only 50 miles, but it takes you up to 8 to 10 hours. So, you do the math and you figure out that you're not moving that fast. But you feel like you are because you're over the water, but you're over ground, you're not moving that fast. So that's pretty much the trip. Obviously, there are a lot of innuendos when you're there. You can talk to local people to get some pointers on anything, but those are the basics for the trip to Bimini. And yeah, so that's about it. Thank you very much and have a great sail.